This is Stormbound Chapter 4, Avoidance Tactics. Aaron. I'd been vaguely aware of a storm brewing all day, but I'd ignored it, same as I ignored the way the quiet here settled deep into my bones. Living inside the pack was loud, chaotic, and messy. I loved it, loved knowing I belonged somewhere, but out here, I could breathe. At least I could, until Maddie arrived. Even in wolf form, she conveyed attitude. She knew what she wanted, and she worked diligently to achieve it. I stayed on the far side of the cabin while she changed. Tried not to think about her changing from her wolf to her human form, naked. I heard her shuffle off the backpack, pull her clothes on one piece at a time. It was hard not to imagine. "Generator working?" she asked. I swallowed, my throat suddenly dry. "Yeah, I just haven't got the heater on yet. It was hot from all the repairs I had to make." This place was a bit worn down. Another crack of thunder rumbled by. "Why are you here?" I asked her. "A storm is coming and you turned off your comms," she said as she stepped out from behind the shade, and I couldn't find it in myself to be sorry. Her auburn hair hung in long waves over her shoulders, and her brown eyes shot me daggers. She'd be fire if she ever let herself go. She was dressed in jeans that fit her just right and a warm jumper. A soft brown that complemented her hair and eyes. She looked edible and dangerous. I told myself to look away, but failed. Sorry, I was enjoying the quiet. Heavy rain hit the roof and we both looked up. "Lucky I just fixed that. Looks like we're here overnight." She looked less irritated than I imagined she would. "There's one bed," I said with a smirk pulling at my lips before I could stop it. Old habits. Now her glare intensified. "There's a couch." We both looked at it. It wasn't even a real couch, more like a glorified bench with cushions. "Not even you would fit on that, princess." She bit her lower lip, hesitating, and the movement snagged something low in my gut. She had no idea what she did when she did that. Probably a good thing. I looked away. I should call Molly when I got back to town. I reminded myself it had been too long. The thought didn't sit right. It hadn't for weeks. Lightning lit up the cabin, flashing white across Maddie's face. She didn't flinch. The woman had steel in her spine. The rain continued steady, relentless, like pounding of blood in my ears. I moved to the stove, put the kettle on, not because I needed tea, but because I needed something to do. "Want some tea?" I asked, without looking at her. "Please." Soft, careful. She stepped closer as I poured the water, and her scent hit me like a punch. Citrus shampoo, light floral perfume, and beneath it, her wolf. Maddie's scent. Too familiar, too dangerous. I fought to keep my breathing steady. She hovered beside me as the kettle whistled, moving in sync with me like it wasn't the first time we'd shared space, like it was easy, natural. I hated how right it felt. I shoved a mug toward her, sat down at the table, and forced my eyes anywhere but her face. She sat too. She curled her fingers around the chipped ceramic mug, her skin pale against it. Her nails were short, clean, and practical. I caught myself watching her fingers. I needed help. "Been out here before?" I rasped, desperate to drag my mind somewhere else. She nodded, gaze lowered. "Yeah, not to stay, but I've run the entire edge of the territory." I nodded. She would have. Pack princess, running herself ragged to prove she could, same as I had once. Another crack of thunder, another flash of lightning. Silence settled between us. I needed to say something. "How's Sam?" I asked before I could stop myself. She froze, looked up slowly. Her dark eyes locked on mine, and I saw fury there, fury and hurt. "I have no idea. I haven't seen him in weeks." "Weeks? That's hard to do in a town like this." She didn't blink. He made it easy. I swallowed. I hadn't expected that. He wasn't happy when I broke up with him. Something shifted in my chest, tight, sharp. I fought to sound casual. "So no mate bond." Her jaw tightened. She shook her head. "Not that I sensed." Not that she sensed? My wolf surged forward, teeth bared. Not at her, but in pure, unfiltered satisfaction. No bond, no claim. I forced myself to sit still, but it took everything I had. She said nothing. She just stared into her mug as if it held answers. I didn't know what to say after that. The storm hammered against the windows. Maddie's scent filled every breath I took. I told myself not to look at her again. I failed. She looked tired, sad, like the weight of the world was pressing down and she was just barely holding it up. I wanted to take that weight off her shoulders, and that scared me more than anything. I pushed up from the table, pacing the cabin like the walls were closing in. I told myself it was just the storm, just a matter of proximity, just the old friend of instinct kicking up trouble. But as her scent wrapped around me and the thunder rolled outside, I knew I was lying. She wasn't supposed to matter. Tonight, trapped in this cabin with her, I wasn't sure I believed that anymore.